Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Fishing AT, and it's Monday the 7th of August and I'm fishing at Abbotsbury on the Chesil Beach. It's quite a blustery day at the moment. There's quite a medium to strongish southwesterly blowing in, 15 to 20, which is meant to ease a little bit sort of 5-6 o'clock tonight and then calm down to about a 10 mile an hour southwesterly overnight. It's 1:30 in the afternoon. First casts are in the water, and high tide was about midday, so we're fishing down to low at the moment to about 6 o'clock, and then the plan is fish to low and then fish up to high to midnight and then see how we go from there. As I say, the wind's forecast is actually to pick up a little bit, so it's a little bit blowy. Hopefully there isn't too much wind noise in the shelter of my bivvy. I've walked up towards the Dragon's Teeth. I'm not quite at the Dragon's Teeth. I'm about 200 yards from the Dragon's Teeth. There are a couple of people fishing there anyway. So I'm fishing the sort of car park side of the teeth, and we'll see how things go. Already had 3 mackerel. Might have seen from the intro. I got new line on a couple of the reels, so I did a couple of practice casts with mackerel feathers. And I caught 3 mackerel, which are tiny, basically about 8 inches long. So legal size I checked is about 12. So I didn't keep those mackerel, I put them back. So that's interesting. Probably some of the smallest mackerel I've caught for a long time. Anyway, plenty of mackerel there. If you want to fish, I'll probably have a few casts spinning later on just to see if I can pull out a couple of bigger ones near dusk. But basically fishing mixture of rigs today, so a loop rig, small hooks, size 2 with worm and fish baits, and that's 3/0 pulley pennel with a prawn and squid, and then I'm probably going to put a size 1/0 pulley pennel on a 3rd rod with rag and squid as well. Been reports of cod, I've seen plenty of cod being caught. Bream, so fingers crossed we can try and pick something like that up today, but any fish is a bonus. Haven't blanked because I've caught 3 mackerel already. Anyway, back in a while. Just doing a couple of practice casts, bedding in line on reel with a set of mackerel feathers. I've caught 3 mackerel so far. Here's 2, but the mackerel are absolutely tiny, not legal size. 12 inches, I think it's minimum size, and these aren't even sort of 8, so we're going to put these back. So one of the rigs I'm using today is just a simple 2-hook clipped rig. Got a grip lead, an imp, and then 80-pound ASSO body, and then the snoods are essentially trapped with stop knots with a CRT spring, and on the lower snood just got a cascade swivel, and the snood, what's that, it's probably about a size 2 Aberdeen hook. And then the upper snood is just a CRT spring with the bead, CRT spring, bead, swivel, bead, and stop knot, and a snood again on that one. So the lower snood clips into the lower hook, sorry, clips into the imp, if I can get it to clip in. There we go. So the lower hook clips into the imp, and then the upper snood clips into the CRT, the cascade swivel on the upper one. So there's the lower snood, and then the upper snood is just trapped with the cascade swivel, and you have a relatively streamlined 2-hook rig. And the other rig I'm using is a loop rig as well. So I'll show you that. In a minute. Well, I've been fishing about 2 hours. No bites as such. The baits are coming back pretty pristine as they went out. Here's a squid and bluey wrap. Been in the water 40 minutes. There's no evidence of any spider crabs here at the moment, which is great. So that means it simplifies fishing a little bit in that you can leave the baits out, have a little bit more confidence to leave the baits out in the water. But conversely, obviously, not having any bites means that there's not a lot around at the moment on the fall-in tide. But we'll carry on. I just tried spinning again, and on my second cast I had 3 mackerel. Again, all absolutely tiny, 8-9 inches long. So because they were lip hooked easy, I put them back in. Not really prepared to take undersized fish like that. There are probably 50 anglers fishing down towards Abbotsbury car park, so it's very busy here today for a Monday. I tried to think what it's like at a weekend. I know it's the summer holidays, but I suppose the weekends are bolstered by people who have to work. But very busy. But obviously the further you walk at Abbotsbury, the further you can get away from the crowds if you like to be on your own and you like to avoid the swinging leads and mackerel feathers. Here's my first black bream of the season. Only a tiny one. Taken on the loop rig on a bit of rag and squid on a size 4 hook. He's quite a small one. Let's put him, oops, there we go, usually drop them. Let's put him back in. Can thoroughly recommend Malaysian style curry. Very good. Well done, Tesco's. You've excelled yourself again. Fishing is pretty quiet. Just that one bream. That's the only bite I've had. He took rag and squid on I think a size 2 hook, size 4. Wind's got up now quite a bit, blowing in from the southwest, so it's going to be blowing hard for 2 or 3 hours, but hopefully should be easing back by about 7 o'clock tonight. But there's quite a big sea rolling in as such, so staying high up on the bank above the high water line, even though the tide's going out. Occasional big wave rolls in, you just got to be careful here. So yeah, pretty quiet. Those undersized mackerel, plenty of those around, but I've got some frozen mackerel, so I know it's not the same, but I'll probably strap one of them on and chuck it in the gutter when it quietens down a bit. Another mighty mackerel, this time on bait. He's not even as big as my hand. Let's put him back in. Well, it's low tide. I had to change my hat because it's so windy now and the other one blew off. Anyway, it's quite wild now. That wind is, per the forecast, has picked up to about 20 southwesterly, and obviously the sea is a little bit bigger. I think the app that I use, Wind Guru, said the sea state was going to be about 1 metre, which is probably about what it is. But it's only forecast to blow hard for a couple of hours, and then hopefully we'll ease off as we head towards darkness. Fingers crossed. No other action. So pretty quiet on the ebb. Just the one bream and probably the accidental mackerel as well. That probably saw this sequin or something and took a rag and squid bait. But other than that, very quiet. But fingers crossed now on the flood. Just a word about mackerel feathers I'm using. I got fed up of buying shop bought ones and them basically falling apart or being made with low quality gear. So I decided to just make my own, which have proved very effective today, even in these sort of rough conditions. I just got a Gemini weight link at the bottom, and I used, I think this is 70 or 80 pound fluorocarbon. I just form a blood loop in the line, and so you get a blood knot loop, sorry, and then cut it, leave a sizable tag end about 1 centimetre, and then obviously on the open end then just tie a hook. So I've just got a size 1 hook that I'd line around, and then on the, well, sorry, before I tie the hook on, I just tie a little bait stop and a bit of flash attraction, a couple of sequins, and then I've just used whatever they're called, ring tubing on the hook, just to add a bit more colour. And I've done that sort of 4 times, made 4 blood loops. There's red, yellow, and red again, and then with a swivel on the top. And basically, I know even though I've only had 4 or 5 casts, I mean the ring tubing stays on the hook. The sequins don't come off because they're trapped between the bait stop and the hook. And basically, in rough, it's not, you know, the water is pretty murky here, and those little mackerel we're seeing those no problem. So that's what I do. I'm not going to bother buying any tinsely type ones anymore, because they just fall apart and they're quite expensive. Fishing is still really quiet. It's an hour after low water. There's a couple of lads just come down from Eastbourne. They've driven 5.5 hours from Eastbourne, just rocked up alongside. So it'd be interesting to see how they go. First time at Chesil, so it'll be interesting to see. Gonna fish all night, so it'll be a good barometer of how I'm doing in terms of what they're catching. Right, let's see what the evening brings. Baits today, I got some fresh rag from Real Fun Fishing in Portsmouth, and then I got frozen squid, bluey, mackerel, prawn and sandal. That came from Baits for You Limited in Sudbury. Simon Davis mail order and pick up and collect business. Up at 7. What can I say? Pretty quiet. Not really had anything since that bream and that mackerel and bait. Haven't had a bite. Haven't seen anything else caught. So makes me feel a bit better. But clearly it's a bit of a struggle at the moment during the light hours. A couple of hours until sort of dusk, so fingers crossed things might turn on then, but probably just might be out and straps. I was hoping for maybe a couple more bream, cod, but still got a chance of cod, but we'll see. Well, it's 9:15. About 3 hours to high tide. Pretty quiet. Nothing doing. The wind has actually dropped, which per the forecast, so that's great. So the sea is actually starting to flatten off a bit, which is great. And a beautiful sunset, just partly obscured by the clouds there over the distance. So, but no bites at all on the flood. Bait's coming back pretty untouched. I did talk about the loop rig earlier on, but I think it was at the limit of its operating window. A couple of tangles coming in, so I'll save that description for another time. I've just got standard 1/0 pulley pennels on 2 rods, and I've got a sort of 3/0 bigger pulley pennel with a bigger bait on the other. But actually no bites, and haven't seen any fish caught either. So, which is disappointing. I've had worse sessions at Chesil during the day, not very many, but I did blank once completely, day and night, so haven't blanked today. A couple of fish on the bait, and obviously a lot of small mackerel, but we'll keep going for at least another 3-4 hours into darkness, and we'll see what night brings. Well, I know what you need to do now. You need to talk about how rubbish the fishing is, and then turn the camera off, get a bite, and here's the old favourite strap conger. Anyway, it's a start. He's taken a piece of mackerel on a 2-hook flapper rig. Let's get him unhooked and put back in. Little baby conger. 2 congers in 2 casts. That was on a rag and squid 1/0 pulley pennel. Tiny little congers. Hopefully they won't be problematic, but I think we might have a few. Anyway, it's a fish. Let's get another bait out. See you in a bit. Well, here's something I wasn't expecting to catch today. A whiting. I don't know how common that is in Chesil in the summer. But yeah, nice surprise. I think he's probably the biggest fish I've caught today almost. Anyway, let's put him back in. One a chuck now for the old bootlace conger. Trace wreckers. Regardless, they're not partial to anything, they take anything. Anyway, me moaning earlier on that there was no fish. Now there's just congers every chuck. Well, it's coming up for midnight, and no sooner had the fishing turned on around 9-10 o'clock with a run of fish, congers and whiting, and it just turned off. Almost as quickly as it turned on, it turned off. And haven't had any fish for the last 2 hours. So it's high tide, nothing doing, tactics the same, baits the same, fish have just moved on. So I'm gonna call it a day. I think it's been a long day, pretty tired, and well, I think that's just Chesil for you, isn't it? It can be brilliant, and then it can be equally as frustrating. So a few fish, not a lot, but it was a nice day out on the beach, and just makes you want to come back and give it another go and see if you can catch those bream or whatever that you didn't get. So anyway, thanks for watching. Sorry it's not a particularly fish laden video, but anyway, that's how things are, that's how things go. So take care everyone, and if you're out fishing, good luck, tight lines, and we'll see you again soon. Take care now, bye.